The session around 4:05. There are about 90 people who registered for this, so we'll wait for them to join in. Laura, your note taker has to be accepted. It is accepted at this point.
Yeah, it's been accepted.
Hi, everyone who's joined recently. We'll wait a few minutes. We are also waiting someone from uh, DDNP to join. So, yeah, 5 to 6 minutes. I just want to check, is Trivikram also here from IUTI already?
Yes, Ankit, I am already
Yes.
here.
Hi, great. So I was, since you are here as well, and Brinda ma'am is here as well, I was waiting for Hemlata ma'am to join. So 2-3 minutes maybe?
Hello,
Okay,
Ankit.
okay. Yes, hi.
Yeah, hi. Good evening, everyone. I'm Hemlata. I'm SC from the BBMP. Ankit, the CISA is also with us here. So
Okay.
he's addressing the forum.
Would you like to then initiate this and then we can maybe, if you could introduce the project a little bit, then I can take over. I can also pass it to Sri Vikram from IUDI, and then I can just run through the presentation.
Speak from here.
Ankit, sir is also
Yes.
with us here. So sir
Okay.
will be addressing the quorum, then you can take it over.
Okay. So would you like to start? Sir Lokesh sir, would you like to start already?
Yeah, if you can introduce people whoever is there in the meeting.
Okay. So we have right now we have community members and architects, whoever's registered. There are about 90 people who are registered for the event.
Okay.
We have about, from what I can tell, we have 43 people already.
Okay.
I think people will come as they go. What I would love to do is, sir, if you could just introduce yourself
Yeah,
and the
I will
project.
start. Good afternoon to everybody. This is Lokesh, Chief Engineer from BBMP, and my colleague Hemlata is also here, SC. Okay. So this initiatives you all know, and thanks for registering for this. What I say, the feedback or input, I would like to call it. And we want to actually utilize the Bangalore space, so-called the dark space or what unutilized space, and convert into open spaces or public spaces, so that people can spend some time there. So now what has happened, our focus was on the traffic, roads, things like that. Now we want to give some importance to the public spaces and create some this one. So we have invited inputs from all of you, in the sense the public, and you people can contribute to the city's overall development in a way, suggesting the design, redesigning the say junctions, or some boulevards or some public space, whatever maybe, the unutilized space below the flyovers, things and like that. So I throw open this meeting for all of you to debate and take it further, discuss and take it further. And I may not continue in the meeting, but our sensing local guys will keep me everything updated. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, and thank you, Himlata ma'am. Ma'am, would you like to say anything else, or?
Yeah, nothing. Actually, this is the initial meeting, so maybe they'll be having a lot of questions that they want to understand, like how actually they are supposed to go ahead with this. So I think you will be better to make them understand what actually we are planning, and how like what are the feasibility that we will be checking. Like even if they give the places also, what are the checks that will be doing? We will be going ahead, and how the selection will happen. So that will be very clear for them, so that they can select accordingly. Once they do that, like it is a we both are plan the same way what actually we wanted to do. So it's a collaborative way. So we need the public to come forward and tell us like which place is that they want to make it more accessible or improvement. So once they do, then as per the once this you can just tell them what are the procedures that we will be following it to selecting the places. Accordingly, we will go ahead. So I'll thank you everyone that to joining hands with BBMP and Sensing Local. So it's a collaborative way that we can do something for the city.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Lokesh sir. Thank you, Himlata ma'am. I will just frame the project a little bit. This project is called Revitalising Bengaluru's Public Spaces. This is a BBMP initiative where we are looking for public spaces around the streets in Bangalore. And there's a variety of typologies of spaces that we're looking for. This project is supported by Sensing Local in partnership with IUDI. We are also supported additionally by Sustainable Mobility Network and the Ward Samiti Balaga in Bengaluru. I would just like to also just ask Sri Vikram to just introduce yourself and IUDI, and I will just say a line about Sensing Local, and then we can move quickly into the project.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Ankit. It's a great initiative by BBMP and Sensing Local, and IUDI is proud to be part of this particular collaboration as well. And IUDI, and greetings to all the members who are there here for this meeting, and also to my colleagues from IUDI who are part of this meeting. So IUDI is dedicated to advancing the field of urban design through research, education, and collaborative action. Our mission is to promote the scientific, aesthetic, and sustainable development of settlements across all the scales, while actively raising public and professional awareness about importance of well-designed urban environments. At IUDI, we believe that urban design is fundamentally about people and places, and this project talks about the same. The pulse is very much resonating about the shaping spaces that respond to our collective needs, aspirations, and identities. We support students, researchers, and practitioners by providing opportunities through competitions, conferences, exhibitions, and publications, and platforms that encourage innovation, dialogue, and exchange of knowledge as such. So more importantly, we emphasize a community-led design development, which is the core idea of this particular program as well. And we believe that resilient and inclusive cities can only be built through active participation of all the stakeholders. A significant and inspiring step in this direction has been seen through this initiative, where BBMP has initiated with Sensing Local and partnered by us, IUDI. And this project marks a new beginning in the citizen engagement, enabling people to take ownership in shaping the everyday spaces they live in and work. So as we look forward, we hope to see support and realize more such community-centered initiatives, not only in Bengaluru, but also across the cities in Karnataka as such. So these efforts are essential in enhancing the city's quality of life, urban experience, and sense of belonging within our environments. So this is where IUDI stands, and we look forward for this program through its realization and active public spaces being created in our cities. Thank you, Ankit. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Just a line about Sensing Local. We are urban planners. It's an urban living lab based out of Bangalore, and we've been working across a variety of environmental issues from air pollution, waste management, sustainable mobility, and doing a lot of work on walkability and urban space, public spaces now. Sustainable Mobility Network is a network of multiple organizations across the country that work on sustainable mobility initiatives. Ward Samiti Balaga is a group of hundreds of ward committee members, or just active citizens who are working alongside ward committees in Bangalore. So they do represent a lot of the people who are actively working in these neighborhoods. So I will move on now, and I will get into the project itself. Just give me a second. Okay. So everyone is familiar with the website, but just for sake of people who haven't seen it yet, it's www.blr publicspace-revival.in. As you may have already gathered, this is from the website. There's a city-wide initiative which is inviting citizens to nominate underutilized public spaces along the streets in their neighborhoods that they wish to see transformed. These spaces, we are really looking beyond the traditional kind of public spaces like lakes and parks that we always do. And we really see streets as public spaces in themselves that oftentimes we're spending a lot of time in. And the kind of spaces that we're looking for are across different scales. It can be pocket-sized, or it can be an entire street itself. So we're not sort of getting only small, but it can be medium-sized, large as well. There are 4 kinds of typologies that we have concerned ourselves with. One is communal spaces. These are like gathering spaces in the community. Sometimes they are like cuttays, they are like urban village squares and spaces like that. Second is we are looking at leftover spaces. So as you look around the city, there's a lot of infrastructure coming up. There are a lot of spaces along roads, flyovers, and others that are just defunct spaces. We're looking at such spaces as well, that they can be reimagined. The third is we're looking at multifunctional streets that perform more than one function or a single function very intensively. So in every neighborhood, you'll know that there'll be some street that is like a dense shopping street or a food street. So things like that. So those are the kind of streets that we're looking for, that if we try to improve those streets and make them more people friendly, what would that look like? The fourth is we are targeting transportation circulation spaces. These are spaces where we often see conflict between vehicles and pedestrians, and they need to be really improved for safety, comfort, access. So I will get into examples of what each of the typologies would look like. So this is, for example, these are the views of an urban village, a kate. You see them all around the city. Second is these leftover spaces. This is an image from Wheeler Road under the flyover there. You have a lot of buffer spaces along high tension wires. This is an example of leftover space. We're also very keenly looking at spaces like these green-blue edges, which are around parks, around lakes, that need to be developed to improve porosity, also improve engagement between these natural ecological spaces and the neighborhood itself. The multifunctional streets, we've actually looked at 5 different categories, but these are not exhaustive, these are indicative. Like I was mentioning, food street, shopping street, but also like walker streets. There are certain streets in the neighborhood that a lot of people actually use for walking. How can you make them possibly safer? School access zones. These are 100 meters around every school gate on either side, where we really need to be concerned with safety of children. Also conservancy lanes. There are many neighborhoods in Bangalore that have conservancy lanes that have not been developed. They're in bad shape, but they could be reimagined. And in transportation and circulation spaces, we're looking at bus stops, metro stations, other feeder roads that are coming into these public transport nodes. We're looking at junctions, road islands, underpasses, overpasses. Our concern is not necessarily only with traffic engineering for vehicles, but really about how people use the space, how pedestrians sort of occupy the space, how do they pass through these spaces. So yeah, that's pretty much what it is. And I'm sure you will find other kinds of spaces that you can nominate in the form. There are 2 kinds of sort of sets of people that we think are eligible for this program. One is, of course, it's open to community groups. You can be a RWA, Resident Welfare Association, Apartment Association, Commercial Association. These are unions of shops, or an NGO or a trust. You may have already started thinking about a solution and may have engaged a designer or an architect, or you have just sort of been concerned with the space for a long time. All of this is fine. It doesn't matter what stage of the project you are in, it's all welcome. If you're an architect, urban designer, or other kind of design professional, you can be a firm, an independent practitioner with some kind of registration, or an institution. You're also welcome to participate in this. The one thing that we are heavily looking for is that whatever space gets nominated definitely has a community as the receiving side in collaboration with. So you, as a designer, you can't just say, I want to design this and therefore this is my idea. We need to really bring in the community that is going to be on the receiving side, the user side of this, to be an active collaborator and a partner to that space. So in the form, you will see that if you are an architect, designer, urban designer, or other design professional, it'll ask you details about who the community is in that area. And we should be thinking about representation in that moment. So who represents that space? In case you do not find such a community, you can always reach out to us, and I will come to the variety of mediums that you can reach out to us with. In terms of overall timeline, the project was launched on 19th of May. This is where nominations have begun. On the website, you will find both Kannada, English forms, whatever you're comfortable with. We've left about 30 days for these nominations to happen from across the city. So 19th of June, we'll be closing this. After this, we'll be doing a feasibility assessment on ground to see what are these spaces, who owns them, and whether it's possible to take them up for implementation. When these sites are approved as public spaces that can be taken up under this program, we'll be adding them to the city repository. And this repository is actually something that's going to stay alive for the next 5 years as a BBMP sort of program. And every year, we're going to look at a select set of sites that BBMP can then take up for implementation. So after this repository is ready, there'll be an impact assessment and a shortlisting of sites for the first year. And then we're looking tentatively for end of July as the announcement for this first set of sites. There are 3 sort of mediums that we've created for you to ask us questions or share any doubts. One is you can message us directly. You can leave a message from the website. When you click on message us for questions, there's a form that opens up. Many of you have sent us questions. We've sent you replies as well. Second, you can call us. There's a number here. It's on the website. You can take a screenshot right now if you feel like it. And we're also doing another information session on 6th in case you know people who would be interested in joining this. There are a couple of questions that are very, very basic, fundamental questions that we have already put in the FAQ. And we will open up now the rest of this time to take any questions and doubts from you. But just to clarify, very, very basic stuff. Can individual citizens nominate a public space? Not as individuals. You need to be collaborating with the community or a design firm or architecture firm so that they become the long-term entity that can become accountable for this project. This is the reason is we want long-term partners. Second, why do I need to have a community group as a collaborator? Again, to this point, I mentioned it a little bit before, that design in itself is not as useful if we don't know who's going to use this space and who's going to take care of this space once we actually design it. So we need to be thinking about maintenance, monitoring, and further usage going forward. What is the purpose of this repository? I think I mentioned this earlier, that this repository is basically looking like as a bank for the next 5 years. And it's a place that BBMP can go into and say, okay, these are the kind of sites, we have this much money, we can then pick up sites from here that have a lot of potential that can actually make an outsized impact in for the citizens and the neighborhood. So this is the place where all the nominations that you make will be sitting. What are the institutions that are eligible? This is detailed on the website, but basically we are looking at architecture, urban design, other kinds of design disciplines. I know there are courses on public space, etc. All of those are available. And to the last point, yes, you can, if people have more than one site, please fill a new form, and you can then submit the second site or third site that you may have. There is no restriction to the number of sites. So this is all we wanted to share. What I would like to do is to use the rest of the forum now to take any questions, any thoughts that you may have, and we will document them. If some of them are generic questions, we will make them part of the FAQ. So the room is open. We have 57 people here. Please do share any questions that you may have. Yes, Sushil, please go ahead. Sushil, yes, please go ahead. Sushil, are you able to hear me? Sorry. Okay. No problem. Can you message? If you could just drop a message, then I can take it up. Okay. Why don't you do that? I can move on to the next person. Yeah, please. Not a compliment. Okay. Can you please go ahead?
Hi, my name is Akanksha Manjunath Aswam from Bangalore. I wanted to ask, see, I live in Jakkur ward. I was born and raised in Bangalore, and then I was abroad for 10 years. I'm back, and I work in behavioral change, so street harassment, especially in public spaces, and we're an NGO. And I wanted to ask, because when this initiative came out, I went around mapping places in my area already. And what I found is there are a lot of empty grounds. Does that qualify to be part? Because I didn't see it on the list, so I thought I would ask today anyway. Because like there's a huge, at least 2-acre ground, like a field owned by BBMP next to a petrol bunk on the Jakkur main road, which could easily be a multifunctional space. And we already have an architect. We have architect Neela Manjunath. So I was trying to figure out, would that be acceptable as a submission?
Is it an independent ground completely, or is it part of the road sort of space?
Independent.
Okay,
We've got a few migrants living in the corner, and people just drive around there and like do shady activities sometimes. And I thought, if you change a public space, you're more likely to have different members of the community participate. So that was my question.
Okay. So if I don't have a straight answer, I can note it down and we can get back to you.
I can also see pictures of the ground, so you can get sense through the email.
So I just want to put, just say upfront, this project is run by Road Infrastructure now under GBA, the Greater Bengaluru Authority. So their primary responsibility and power lies around road and road infrastructure.
Okay.
If it's an open ground, then it will likely be a different department in BBMP.
Okay.
The Road Infrastructure Department is not opposed to partnering up with other people, but as far as most of the work with regard to this project is concerned, like it would be great if it lies within their jurisdiction.
No, understand.
So I will not say no, but I think we will have to just, if you could drop us a message, I will make sure that we can discuss it back. And then we can get back to you. So could you just drop us a message from the website that we know what this is, and we can always sort of get back with more clearer answers.
Okay, and that brings me to my second question is that, because there's also a lot of lakes in Jakur, and when you talk about roads, some of these are right next to the road. And, would that count as well? Because that does fall into both categories, lakes, but also roads and transportation.
Sorry, could you repeat what you said? I didn't hear this. So there's a lake, yes.
There are a lot of lakes in Jakur, like around 8, 9, and some of them are directly next to a road.
Yeah.
No?
So it's the edge. The edges are definitely under our jurisdiction. In fact, it's a typology itself.
Okay.
Yes. I'm also just sort of bringing in the team is here from IUDI and from Sensing Local. I think Sudhya, I don't know if you're here, but Brinda ma'am is here and Sri Vikram also. If you want to comment on that ground, Brinda, because you wrote the message, please do so.
I think BBMP owns the ground.
BBMP owns the ground.
Yeah. Okay. It's so sometimes Mr. Krishna Baregoda is our representative. He holds a lot of events there, or in in Sakanagar, he alternates. So we have a lot of community events there, but then other than that, the ground is just completely abandoned. So I was thinking there's a huge potential for so many different things that could also be accessible because it's road level. So, even people with disabilities and for children, for elderly people, for everyone, basically, because there's not a lot of parks that are functional in Bangalore, at least in my area. So I thought this way we could have a space where the community could gather.
Right.
Aside from the events and things that Mr. Krishna Baregoda organizes.
Yeah, I think it could qualify, particularly because it is owned by BBMP, is what I would think. But like Ankit said, if you can share a few more details, we can, clarify that, because I think you cannot probably build within the ground itself, but maybe the edges, the edge additions, and also the places where there are, you said, some migrants who have settled, those could be probably considered. But let's take a look at it and then we will get back to you.
Okay, that works. Thank you.
So what you could quickly do just to close on this is if you could just drop us a message on the website to what is that space as a geolocation and a name, and what you want to do very quickly, so that we can cross-check some of these things, and you can always then fill a form once there is some response on this.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that works. Thank you so much.
Okay, just moving on to the next person. Sushil, sorry, just to answer your question, you said, can a private entity nominate a space for commercial or CSR purposes for their clients, and we will collaborate with the local community to develop it? So is that space a public space? Sorry, Sushil, okay, it's a public space. So if it's a public space, it can be reprogrammed, but it cannot be exclusive. I'm also not sure about it being commercial purposes, because it's still a public space. So what are the terms with which you will make it commercial? Who is then going to earn that money? So it cannot be that we are occupying a public space for the benefit of a small section of people. If it's a public space redevelopment, it will be always open to people, and it will be free because it is a public space. So I just want to make that clarification. Okay, thank you. Can I do the next person? Shift. I'm sorry, I'm just going to pick people because I can see them. Shift Foundation, if you could please ask your question.
Yeah, hi, I'm Pratiksha. Chill Foundation is the NGO that I run, so just I joined from there. Just by the way, love the initiative, and I think it's a really critical intervention. I'm a multidisciplinary artist and also an environmental advocate. And large part of our work as the NGO also focuses on bringing more environmental, say, action into the spaces that you're talking about, same as public spaces, using collective action and then also using art as the medium. I was wondering if you're looking at these spaces instead of just say visual art pieces as also these participatory sort of spaces where it becomes more experiential for people and then it becomes more communal and hence becomes those point, critical touch points for climate action, for sustainability. All these angles need to be brought in because anyone who's lived here long enough knows how drastically Bangalore is changing, and if it is not driven by collective community action, I feel like it's not going to go in the right direction. So large part of our work is building like Bangalore as a model city. And one main question again for me was, is there a way to collaborate with you at a more direct level other than just listing community spaces, which we can also do? But is there more ways of, collaborating as the organization we are, as artists, communities, and all of that, that we are to bring this like, critical information in?
So I would say at this point it would be much easier to engage in this, but you can drop us a message and we can see what can happen later.
Okay.
At this point, the program is on the move. So
Okay, yeah.
if you can drop us a message about what this is, we will take it forward.
Okay.
But if you have also a specific space in mind, please do propose what you're doing. And if this is taken forward in some way, it can also find scale by itself. So I would like to do that.
Sure. So on the same on your website, the
Yeah,
message.
you can just you can do that.
Is that all right?
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Rajeshwari, you could please ask your question.
Yeah.
I'm going to go a little faster so you can get to the point and so that more people have a chance.
Yeah, hello Ankit. This is
Hi.
Rajeshwari of Civic, and I'm
Oh.
also sitting there. And
Ma'am,
I'm
Jenny, ma'am, hi.
from-
How are you?
Yeah, hi. So we are located in Shantinagar ward,
Oops.
and we would be interested in picking a location. Probably Nanjapa Circle is what I have in mind, near the Hockey Association. And we are in touch with the community here. There are youth groups, and we can involve them in this. And my question is, you said we have to have an architect or designer group to design what we want.
You don't need to, ma'am. You don't need to. You will be a community group, ma'am, from your perspective. So you don't need to right away. It doesn't matter what stage you are in. If you just have the idea, it's okay. If you know somebody, that's also okay. So it's fine. If you don't have
We
one,
can
also
do
it's
the
fine.
design ourselves also.
Yeah, so we will, ma'am, if that site is selected for the year, then BBMP will provide that support, and then we can figure out how that project can be taken forward. So at this point, please go ahead and nominate.
Yeah, the other question I have is, does it involve any financial commitment from our side, or all the resources will come from BBMP?
BBMP.
Whatever we want done.
Yeah, BBMP, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, so we just have to nominate the place where we want to work.
Yes, there are a few questions. So if you could fill the form, there are a couple of questions about the site, what the challenges are, what you want to do with it. So if you could do that, that's enough for now.
Okay, fine. Thanks a lot.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
And hi, Brinda. Nice seeing you there.
Hi, Katyani. Good to see that
Hi.
you are going to be participating.
Yeah, nice to know you are also involved. Thank
Yes.
you. Do you have any question? People from Ishanya
Hi, ma'am.
RWA are also sitting here.
Hi,
Ms.
sir.
Shashi
Hi,
Tegi.
ma'am. I'm Shashi Singh from BEM, Bengaluru in Ishanya Mahavedike. So I had come down to meet ma'am since you guys are nice. It's nice. It's a great initiative that BBMP is coming out with. I'm happy to see BBMP in action. Congratulations, ma'am. Congratulations, sir. I mean, it really feels good.
Thank you so much.
Any place
If you have any ideas, please do nominate public spaces that
Yes.
you think can be
Yes,
useful.
we will
Yes,
come
sir.
back, sir. We will come
Come
back.
back to you later.
We will come back to you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. We can move on to Abhijit. Brinda and Srivikram, please do come in whenever you feel
Yeah, sure.
you need to come in.
Sure.
Abhijit, please could you go ahead?
Yeah, hi, this is Abhijit here. I'm representing Kasturi Nagar Welfare Association. A couple of years back, we had a very similar kind of a program in our ward. So, Kasturi Nagar belongs to Benganahalli ward, ward number 50. We had a similar program which was announced. It was under a flyover, the space under the flyover, and now there is a metro track coming in for the airport line. And they had actually taken up a BBMP park and they have now erected the pillars over there. So that is one space which has a lot of potential. And we had actually given out our ideas, but it didn't take off for God knows what reasons. But yeah, so that is one thing. And the second thing is, sorry.
Yeah, no, please carry on.
Yeah, and the second thing is, so there is a park, there are about 9 BBMP parks in our locality, out of which one park has only a fencing, but there is no maintenance or no plans or whatsoever, whatever infrastructure, and it's a very small space, roughly around 1,500 to 2,000 square feet in total area of that park. So that is now as left as a dump yard, and residents around it have an issue with that place in their vicinity. So that is one space which we were looking for. And Kasturi Nagar Association has a very strong social presence, and we had actually come together to revive a lake by ourselves, which is under the forest department now. So the community involvement is actually very, very good and strong in Kasturi Nagar. So this under flyover, it can develop as a bus terminal, it can develop as a EV charging station, or it can just get back the lost glory of that park which was there. And there was actually a Kalyani inside that park, which is now filled with all debris. So I would like to just bring it to your notice, and of course I will follow the official process to nominate the place. But I wanted to check whether this program is the same program which was taken off about 4 to 5 years back, or is it a different program altogether?
I know about the space because we engaged with it. The urban revamp program, actually, the second year, the budgets did not come by the government, so it was cancelled. So this, please do apply for this, because this is another way of doing the same work. And so because that under the flyover is around that road, it is still under the jurisdiction of this department. So please do go.
Sure, I'll definitely do that. Yeah. Thank you for your time.
Let's go to the next person. Anjali, please go ahead.
Hi, Ankit. Hi, good evening. I just joined this call, as a citizen, and I also have a startup. We work on waste management solutions. So a couple of questions now. So when I nominate these spaces, I mean, how do I gather a community? So I'm thinking about, we have the Banchankri, the market over here, and we have the Jayanagar market, and there's some potential there to to keep it clean at the end of the day, collecting the waste, etc. Yes, my question is, how do I submit this idea as an individual? You just mentioned something about connecting with you later to help create the community or something. So I just wanted to check with you on how to move forward on this. Or do I connect offline with you and we can discuss this and then see how to present the idea?
What is exactly the project? I'm so sorry. I know it's around you're saying the market and the PD complex, but what is the space that you are concerned
It's
with?
the market. So this is basically, next to the Banchankri metro station. So this route along this Kanakpura road where all the vegetable vendors are sitting basically.
So it's the road itself.
Yeah, it's the road. It's a footpath kind of area.
So Kanakpura has a very active community. There's a huge federation of RWAs in Kanakpura. Please write to us contact us on the website. We will connect you with the federation. There are people that's very active. Kanakpura at least is very, very active.
Okay, so even in around this Jayanagar 4th block, so there is some scope for improvement.
You can tell us what it is. Because there are a lot of people within the community there, we can sort of see who is the nearest to that space. So if you could just write us like this is exactly the road or this is the kind of space, then we can sort of do some cross matching between
Okay, so I'll send you these ideas. We discuss it and then we upload the ideas basically. Right?
Yeah. Just clarify to us what is it? Like, is it a street? Is it a street edge? Is it
Okay, I'll send you the
what is that space? Yeah.
Right. I'll send you the information. And I also listen to the Shift Foundation. I totally resonate with her ideas as well about how we can also engage ourselves in the implementation and not just submitting ideas. I know this is definitely a first step. It's a great initiative. This is something that I've been wanting to do for 20-25 years, but the time has come. I'm so glad to be a part of it, but I really feel like you should make use of people like us to do more than just give ideas.
We will let BBMP know.
Yeah, thank you for raising that, because I think we do need stewards for each of these spaces that are probably going to be designed soon. So partnership with any of them with the BBMP would be really good.
Also, to people who are more technically savvy and not necessarily the representatives of a community in a particular location, you can collaborate with multiple people in different neighborhoods. So don't just look at yourselves and I live here and therefore I can only collaborate with the community here. If you have more to offer, please do try to see if there are other communities or other spaces where your skill could be a match. So please.
Yeah, so I think there's also a great platform to connect, Ankit. So I think over a period of time this will evolve slowly, but we just wanted to throw in our ideas.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Do just send us a message and contact us. That's the best way to
I'll do it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Just moving on to Anirudh and then Vinod.
Yeah, hi Ankit. This is Aniruddha from India Rising Trust, and I have a question about kinds of spaces. Number one is that will it be okay if there are vertical surfaces which are nominated? So there are a lot of vertical surfaces which can be put to use for public messaging, or let's say like newspaper stand or plastic bottles collection. Vertical surfaces also can provide an opportunity for public use. So are the vertical surfaces, like I'll give you two examples also, because it is necessary for everybody to understand. So let's say there are three types of public infrastructure. One is hopcoms, one is, let's say, public toilet, and another can be public health center. And all these are owned by the government agencies, and they have long walls or the jutting out area which is forming a corner. So there are vertical surfaces which can be utilized. So that is a thought about one space.
As long as, I don't know, Brinda, do you have any thoughts on this? Because I mean, it's as long as it's on the road and it's under road infrastructure.
Yeah, I think that any of these examples that you just mentioned, I'm assuming that there are people who are crossing or walking along these walls, right? So it becomes part of a street. And then when it becomes part of a street, it is a public space. So we would definitely look at it. I think it is eligible in a way, because you are going to be having people using that space, right? So the idea for us is that if it is a space which is going to be used by a set of people, you would need to also engage with those people who regularly use the space, or need not be regularly, but there may be some people who come regularly. So I think engaging with those as people, users and stakeholders of that space, you could come up with some design ideas. Yes.
Sure. The second space, thank you, Brinda. The second space that I had in mind, and I wanted to ask a question about, let's say on the footpath, we are already able to see the tree census has happened, and all the trees have got numbers and identified. And we are able to see, let's say there are 3 trees which are gone. Already there was a tree on the footpath, now it is gone. Or already we know that it is dying, it is dead tree and it is going to fall, and that space will open up for some purpose. If some public function doesn't take over, it will become part of something else, because space is premium. So in the city, so it will get taken over by. So can a place where previously there used to be a tree, or a tree which is about to die, can that get?
I think about to die though is something that we cannot speculate on. Yeah. But also the tree, so that's why, because all of this comes under the forest sort of tree wing, the tree department, the forest department. But if you look at it as a space where on the footpath where there is a use for, there's a way to redesign that footpath for other kinds of public functions, then yes. But
Okay.
this is a very tricky question because trees is a very sensitive subject in the city. Nobody's going to touch
Sure.
a tree even if it's not going to fall right now, but it looks dead. So
Okay.
I just want to flag that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just add to that. I think if there is no plan to replant those, then but then how do you determine that there is no plan to replant the ones that disappeared? So I think like he said, it's a tricky question, and we'll have to figure based on the context if there is a huge consensus from the community that some other activity can replace those trees, and then the trees can be that were supposed to be there can be put somewhere else or whatever it is. But I think it's not going to be a simple thing to do as such. And just to add one thing to your previous question, as long as the walls that you are talking about belong to the BBMP and it's a government property and not a private property, then only we can actually handle those in this set of projects.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Yes. Vinod, please go ahead.
Hey Ankit, can you hear me okay?
Yes, please go ahead.
All right. Hello everyone. My name is Vinod. I'm from C.V. Raman Nagar, Bangalore. I've been living in this space for about 12 plus years. My specific problem statement that I want to bring this up for this particular campaign is about a road that connects between Bayapinali Metro to Bagmani Tech Park. This specific street is being used by tens and thousands of people on a daily basis who really comes to Bagmani Tech Park. And it's a really narrow street, and probably about 5-6 feet or 7 feet maybe. And two vehicles can't cross, and people are also walking in between, and the peak times it actually gets choked. And this particular problem I have been noticing since day one I'm in this particular place, but there is no resolution to it. So if we can bring up something like this to this particular challenge, that would be really great, and want to understand whether this sort of a circulation space would be in the consideration of this particular campaign.
Yeah, I think so. It's a classic sort of road case, right? So
Perfect. So this is a street that connects between Bayapinali Metro to the Bagmani Tech Park. So tens and thousands of people actually go through this particular space on a daily basis, especially on weekdays, including Saturdays to an extent.
It's a classic sort of last mile, first mile connectivity, right? Classic feeder sort of, right?
Yes,
so yeah,
yes.
Definitely. Please go ahead. Yeah.
All right, so that is one thing. I'll go ahead and submit it. The second thing is about there is also a lake that's next to Bagmani Tech Park, but it is not being used, or there is no cleanup, or nobody from BBMP actually looks into it. It's being kind of not taken care per se. It could have been converted into a nice community space for the people living near and around Bagmani Tech Park. So is that something that we could bring it up as a part of this?
Lakes are not under road infrastructure. Lakes will get into the lakes department, so it will be difficult to take it up. But if there is an edge condition of the lake that either a road gets access to in some way, then yes.
Yeah, so it is an adjacent to the main road itself. It's just cordoned off. There is also a circulation space around the lake as well is there, but it's not being used or taken care, or any development is not happening about it.
Is it the lake property? Like, is it within the lake property?
I think so. There is a space, like walkable space on the lake side, and there is a main road on the other side of the wall.
Could you send us, like, Brida, I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
No, I mean, I think the bottom line that we are seeing here is that it needs ownership with the BBMP. And if that is there, then it's more of a, I mean, it's more eligible.
Is there a way to check that, ma'am? Is there a way we can check that? Who owns it?
Right. So actually, maybe you could send it to us and we can check it for you, because it's not something very simple, right? That we can actually. There's a Lake Development Authority, but I don't think it's functional in all places. So we'll have to figure this case by case.
Sure.
Could you share it? Could you share the, like, in Google Maps or something? If you could like mark it and send us an image or send us a laptop or something, just so that we know what exactly this is.
I'll do that. I'll do that for both these spots which I mentioned.
Okay. Yeah. But just for everyone's sake, lake itself will not be a part of this. Just to clarify, we are looking at the road infrastructure department leading this, so it does need to be under their jurisdiction. It's very hard for them to do this.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah. Last two people. Vinod, you were here, right? Siddharth, if you could please go for it.
Yeah. Hi, Ankit. First of all, wonderful to see this initiative. I'm really happy to start, but we have to start somewhere. I don't have a question as such, but more of a food for thought, especially towards the last stage where you assess the projects. So what I wanted to mention is, once you've selected the sites, and especially since you and a few other people stressed on the onus of people, who are going to benefit from it. I was just thinking, once you have the sites and you have to assess, and we don't know the assessment criteria on which the sites are selected, how about geo-mapping, like having it using digital participation? What I mean here is, you put the sites on a public platform and you have the people probably upvote it, like a very simple version. And this way you have people's trust, or like it's also another way of like informing people before you implement it. And you also possibly reduce any resistance where people say we did not ask for this. Just a food for thought, something you could do in the later stages. But otherwise, I really love what you're doing and the whole team with BBMP. That's it.
The geo mapping is happening just as people are filling the form. There is a location, so we do know what it is, and we will have a sense of at least the boundaries of it roughly. So that is happening. In terms of the citizen voting, we will take back that as a comment to BBMP back. But the thing is that at some time now, because there are so many kinds of people in terms of like income sort of differences, age, which space gets upvoted. How do we decide whether that criteria is correct, right? From a public standpoint, internet accessibility is not for everyone, right? So we can't use that as the basis for the entire program for sure.
Right.
We'll take that back as a comment, but we have to assess them objectively based on impact parameters, and the impact parameters to a large degree are on the website. If you notice, there is a criteria, it's written there. There's a criteria for the site nomination, and you will see that the sites, if they add cultural social value to the place, can they become anchors for local climate action? Can they solve for safety? Can they solve for... So there are 8 points written on the website. So you can use that as the cue for how BBMP will assess them for the impact, because that is going to translate into indicators.
I totally understand, and I think, like you said, the scale is huge, and it's massive. We have a lot of people, but I think a step one would be a good point. We don't have to have the whole thing right away, and since with this, maybe implementing step one would be going in the right direction. But that would be all from my end. Thank you.
Okay. Next person who's next. Anyone else who's left? Priyanka. Yeah, please.
Hi, I'm Priyanka, an architect working in BPAC. I just have 2 doubts. One was, is it only beautification that we are looking at, or issues like stormwater, street light, or obstruction removal? Are these also going to be considered? And second question is, will it be easy to mark a street stretch on this GPS location that we share, or is it only a point we can select when we have to select a street for the nomination?
I think so. Just to your first point, like you were saying whether you can mark obstruction, stormwater. So all of those are issues. And like I was telling Siddharth earlier, there are 8 criteria for why something will be taken up. You can be checkboxing any of them, but definitely looking at wastewater, like looking at water recharge or wastewater flooding conditions, all of those are definitely a part of it, for sure. Obstructions will definitely become part of this, because especially if it's obstruction of footpath or a public space, definitely, 100%.
Okay.
What was your second question? I'm sorry, you had a second question as well.
About the GPS location.
Yes. So as a start, we are just getting, because it's everyone has different skill levels. So not everyone can use My Maps or like GIS. So at this point, we're just getting a geolocation, and when we're getting, if you look at the form, there's a size. But you can also tell us, like you can write it in the description at some point that it's this street from this corner to that corner. So like if you think it's not communicating enough, please add more detail. Like there's no restriction.
Okay. Thank
Whatever
you.
helps you to communicate forward.
Got it. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thanks. Is anyone left? I feel like we covered Shweta. Hi, Shweta.
Good evening. I'm Shweta. I'm an architect and urban designer. So I had a site in mind, which is around the Kempegowda bus station and the metro station. So actually, the idea was more about wayfinding and user friendliness in terms of finding the roads, finding the platforms, and connecting the bus station and metro station, because we have a lot of one ways and all. So does that also come under this, and how will it work? Will it work? Is what I wanted to ask.
Brinda, do you want to take this up? Like, if you have any specific thoughts.
So this is in the. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the location properly.
The bus stop and the metro station, Majestic, right, Shweta? Basically,
Okay. Yeah,
Majestic bus stop and the metro station.
Yes,
right. So if it is a pathway, like a route that connects these two, which it is, I'm assuming, it can be taken up as a street connector, as a design, because one is assuming that a lot of people are walking up and down and also driving across along that particular street length. So yes, it can be, but then there is the size restriction. So just make sure that the area that we are covering is that it's not too long a stretch that you are thinking.
There is a road actually that divides the metro station and the bus stop, like that main road that has the name of the road.
Yes.
But that's definitely a public space, because I don't think that falls into the bus territory or the metro territory.
Yeah. So the linkage, like the pedestrian linkage, is what we would be concerned with.
Okay.
Yeah. So Shweta, just look at it this way. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, so actually it was more from the commuter perspective, because Majestic is such a huge terminal, and there's actually a lot of confusion when you go there as to where to find, what to find, and also the metro and that is not connected. It's quite far comparatively. So, mostly in terms of wayfinding, and also in terms of public infrastructure like a community toilets, or somebody's waiting, a good waiting area or something, which is also easily findable, because we need to find a lot of things in the bus station. It's not very easy to find them. So in that terms, is it possible?
So I would like to pose it this way. So one thing I just want to let you know, there is a wayfinding system being designed at this moment for Majestic bus stop, for Majestic metro station. So that's going on at this moment. So hopefully they will break through and have something useful. The second thing is that try to look at this as an opportunity, that we do have the road infrastructure department who is backing this project. What is it that we can do in that edge and that roadway at the periphery of the metro and the bus stop that could help solve some of the problems that you are speaking about? So just because every time we cross the boundary into a land that is not road infrastructure, it's going to be extremely hard for road infrastructure to do anything about it. So I would just like to turn it on its head and see, we have this government agency backing it. What is it that they can do to solve at least part of this problem? Definitely the entrance into Majestic bus stop itself, you could have a lot of this information laid out, even if you didn't penetrate necessarily into the bus stop itself. So just want to leave it as what we can do with what we have, and then see, explore.
Yeah. I think again, it's the ownership that matters, and whether we can intervene in those spaces. Because if BMRCL is already doing a wayfinding, then connecting our effort to that would be a useful thing to do, so that where like Ankit already said, the edge conditions where people are moving, skirting the two properties, one belonging to the BMTC, the other belonging to BMRCL. So how can we use that public space, and how do you link the two? So if it is within the property, maybe we don't have jurisdiction there. But if it is...
But if it's the road that is leading to or connecting, can that be worked on and nominated?
So send us the exact route that you're taking, you're thinking of, because it again depends on whether it is within the property of the MRCL jurisdiction, or that road, whether it is inside or whether it's on the edge. So let's be a little more specific, maybe with the image or something, then we can get back to you on that. But most likely, I think it should work.
Also, there's the railway station at the other side. That wayfinding is a system, like basically the 3 nodes, right? But there are 2 major roads that are perpendicular, that sort of shape the space.
Exactly. So like the bus station and metro station is between 2 roads, one which is leading to the, one which has the entrance to railway station, and the other the Dhanvantri road, which is coming from the Chickpet side.
Yeah.
So it's in between, and there is one road which is connecting these 2 roads, which has the entrance both to the to the bus station and the metro station. So that edge kind of a formation that happens there of the roads itself.
Yeah, from what I can understand, I think it's most likely possible to do this, but just once for us to confirm with the BBMP staff, we'll just see if you can send us the exact pathway that you're looking at, and then we will confirm.
Okay, cool. I'll send that.
5 o'clock.
Thank you.
We promised to sort of close on time, so it's 5 o'clock. If there are more questions that we have not answered, I don't see any hands up, but if there's anything else that's missed out, please do reach out to us. There's a number that I had published on the website. You can go to contact us and find this. Please do that, or you can send us a message, and we'll be happy to answer anything that you have to offer. I just want to leave it here. This is what it is. You can find this on the website. Just click on contact us and you'll get this information. Thank you so much. I would just like to thank everyone, especially the BBMP officials who made time. Brinda, thank you so much. Sri Vikram for joining. And please send us, there'll be another information session on 6th if there's anything that's missed out, but just directly approach us and we would like to answer as many questions as possible.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining us. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.